The doctor is back in the office. I'm gonna cut to the chase. What a fucking scrap between Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. One of the better scraps you'll see. I'm not gonna say one of the best fights I've never necessarily ever seen, but these dudes fucking left it all out there. Again, all the credit to Paddy Pimblett, who I was subtly disrespecting for weeks. I mean, even if I wanted to say this guy was a good mixed martial artist, I said his striking sucks, which it does, and he hadn't beaten anybody good. But all the credit to him, showed really great cardio, really insane chin. I mean, the fact that he didn't get knocked out by any of those Justin Gaethje shots, or that sequence in the second round where Justin Gaethje's just pounding elbows on this guy, is absolutely insane. Justin Gaethje, though, becomes the first ever two-time interim UFC champion. And what a fucking performance from him. I thought he looked really sharp. As you could see, 200 total strikes landed here, 170 for Paddy. 3 for 3 on takedowns. He did that stupid little takedown thing where he just would just put Paddy in a front headlock and just bring him to the ground. It was so weird. Paddy Pimblett shot 5 takedowns in here. All of them were stuffed. Credit to Justin Gaethje. When he wants to stuff takedowns, guys, he can do it. But some of the most insane, like, goofball striking you'll ever see. Gaethje dropped him in that first round with an uppercut. Then there was the first eye poke of the fight. Paddy was still landing. Then Gaethje, I think that the second round was when the first time he took him down with that front headlock. Just tons of great exchanges in the pocket. So many, like, times where I thought Paddy Pimblett was done. And then that second round when he hit him with, a right or a left? I think it was a left. And his thumb hit Paddy Pimblett in the eye. And as soon as I saw him hit the ground, because Joe Rogan and DC were fucking clueless, I knew it was an eye poke. Mark Goddard, because he doesn't know how to do his job, didn't see it. Led to some brutal ground and pound sequence where I was like, the fight's got to be over there. And the UFC, listen, I want to make a quick comment about this. They don't care if you eye poke. It's very clear. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if Paddy Pimblett, like, appeals this to the Nevada State Athletic Commission. It's not going to get overturned, but kind of ridiculous that they didn't see that. That was a major, you know, momentum switch in the fight. I'm not the Justin Gaethje was already up 2-0 at that point, but that did so much damage to Paddy. I thought Paddy Pimblett was fucking done. Third round, Paddy Pimblett won. He was, you know, survived. He still looked on wobbly legs, but was landing the jab more than Gaethje was being a little bit more cautious here. But Paddy Pimblett, I thought throughout the fight, did a great job landing calf kicks. Would land knees and head kicks in there too. Justin Gaethje, again, his defense against a head kick is to ram his head into the fucking kick. I've never seen anything like it. Paddy Pimblett would just continue to eat massive shots. There was a flying knee low blow in the fourth round, which is pretty funny. Yeah, just one of the dumbest fights I've ever seen, but one of the most fun fights I've ever seen also. And there was a sequence, and there was another nut shot actually in the fifth round that the ref saw with, like, Mark Goddard didn't see with 4 seconds left. What a fucking fight. Paddy Pimblett legitimately looked like he got a baseball bat taken to his face. Dana White then came out and said Paddy Pimblett went straight to the hospital, and Justin Gaethje apparently is 100% and he's still healthy, doesn't need to go to the hospital. Dana White said something along those lines. I was surprised it was even a 48-47. I thought this was a very clear 49-46. I thought Justin Gaethje took 4 rounds, but again, credit to Paddy Pimblett. What a fucking chin on this guy. It's really a shame. He has zero strike. Like, his hands are terrible. He has zero striking capability whatsoever. He needs to go to, like, he has the striking capability of a soccer mom who does kickbox, like the trial kickboxing class. Like, she sucks. I saw that tweet somewhere on Twitter, so I stole that, but it is so funny how bad his striking is. His hands are so low, but credit to him, his chin is insane. Then he does the whole shtick at the end where he's like, it was making me laugh. And as somebody who's been impacted by suicide, I really shouldn't be laughing about this. But he pulled the shtick out where he's like, you know, men need to speak up, and, you know, you never should kill yourself, which you shouldn't kill yourself. But it just was funny that he went back to that one again. And he named about 8 people in his life who died, which is kind of weird. And he was wearing a Polymarket chain. And another thing about Polymarket, why the fuck is that the sponsor? Polymarket sucks. It's just dumb AI predictive shit that has no place in the fight. Like, in the second round, it pulled up, and I swear to God, it's 54% Paddy Pimblett, 46% Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje was winning the first 2 rounds, like, handedly. But I was actually, the one thing I was a little bit surprised was not a ton of calf kicks from Justin Gaethje in this fight. I mean, maybe I just wasn't paying super close attention, but Paddy Pimblett was throwing a lot more of them. Gaethje wasn't throwing them as much. I was kind of surprised how many, like, grappling exchanges Justin Gaethje was initiating. And he also, I think, had a nice scramble on like one of the times where he took Paddy down and wasn't really in a great position. But either way, Paddy Pimblett couldn't get one submission attempt off. The fight went to the ground a couple times. Justin Gaethje had that front headlock. Paddy Pimblett couldn't do anything. And I actually will say this about Justin Gaethje. I give him credit for not like trying to do a guillotine or really do anything on the ground except hold him there and like land some side like knees to the thigh or something. Because he knew that he wanted zero jiu-jitsu involved, and he did a good job knowing when to disengage. I actually thought he really executed a pretty solid game plan in this, despite how many times did you think Justin Gaethje was rocked and he was going to lose? Like, I kept waiting for Paddy Pimblett to, like, fucking fluke a submission or do something stupid. But either way, sick fight, one of the best scraps you'll ever see. It is hilarious, though, how this was the interim title fight. Like, Arman Tsarukyan just sitting there in the crowd. You have Charles and Max fighting for a fake belt, and you have Ilia Topuria in his basement crying over how much money his wife's going to steal him in this divorce. It's just funny how the lightweight, matchmaking's going on. For Gaethje, I don't know. I could see him fight Arman next. You don't really know what the deal with Ilia is. But, again, I really don't know. The lightweight is so weird. Paddy Pimblett. He did really earn my respect, but never disrespected legends. Once he started disrespecting Dustin Poirier, I knew it was fucking over for him. Never talk shit on the fucking diamond. Fuck you, Paddy Pimblett. Even though you have earned my respect, credit to you. You actually fought somebody who's good. Justin Gaethje, we get an American champion. We're going to have an American champion fighting at the White House, albeit an interim one. It's either going to be against Arman or Ilia Topuria. Next, Ilia would destroy both these guys. It's hilarious how many levels above an Arman, a Max, a Charles, and an Ilia are above these guys. But who cares? We all knew this fight was going to be fun as fuck to watch. It was delivered. I thought Gaethje would get it done in round 3. I thought it was either going to go Gaethje round 3 or Paddy Pimblett getting a really early sub. And as the fight got closer, I started texting my boys. I'm like, there's value in a Gaethje decision. It got there. Credit to Justin Gaethje. One of the all-time lightweights, one of the all-time warriors and fucking badasses in the UFC. Let's talk about the co-main, though, because there was a little bit of controversy here with Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. I thought Sean O'Malley won this pretty clearly. I didn't really understand a ton of the outrage in that first for the scoring in that first round, because Sean O'Malley outstruck him. Song Yadong landed that late takedown, but he didn't do anything with it. What did he have? 20 seconds of control time. The one thing that this fight had a lot of was feints. These guys must have broken the record for feints thrown. It was literally insane. O'Malley was switching stands. I thought he was cutting angles really well, landing some nice shots on Yadong. Song Yadong also blitzed a lot, and Sean O'Malley is just so... Listen, I don't think this was a particularly insane performance or even great performance from O'Malley, but he moves so slick on the feet. It's really hard to consistently touch this guy up. There was some nice low kicks from Song Yadong. I thought he was chopping at him. Then Song Yadong, I think, landed again on that takedown. Sean O'Malley tried to get a guillotine. It wasn't really in there. Round 2, I thought it went to Song Yadong. Just had some nice low kicks. I think he landed a couple takedowns in here. Joe Rogan was creaming about the fucking compromised legs of Sean O'Malley. I didn't really see them or particularly care about them, but what do I know? Joe Rogan's he knows everything about mixed martial arts. There was a lot of bruising on the calves of these guys. And then third round, I thought Sean O'Malley did a nice job really turning it up. Looked like prime sugar, was in flow state. Song Yadong literally was moving like Henry Cejudo for half this fight, like he was chewing Sean O'Malley up with feints. He was Cejudo maxing, but Sean O'Malley landed some nice rights. He was bleeding Song Yadong up. He ducked a couple spinning elbows, defended some takedowns. I think he stuffed 4 takedowns in this. Landed a nice knee. I thought he did enough to win this. I don't really think there was a ton of controversy here, in my opinion. I thought Song Yadong, like, what did he really land? You know what I mean? Even though it says he outstruck him by 2, so maybe I'm fucking stupid. But I felt like he didn't really land anything super meaningful. Sean O'Malley had the better sequences. If you want to score that first round for Song Yadong, I don't really get that. He landed a meaningless takedown that, it led to nothing. So, good win for Sean O'Malley. The notion that this guy's getting a title shot after this, I think, is the dumbest thing ever. I don't think he deserves a title shot. I wasn't, blown away. I thought he was going to come out here and knock out Song Yadong. Credit to this Chinese looks maxer, Song Yadong, this guy's got a granite chin, DC. He's got a granite chin, Song Yadong. He's fucking tough. He does have a granite chin. I really am interested what they do at bantamweight now, because people keep talking about the Sean O'Malley title thing. Like, why is Merab not getting an instant rematch against Petr Yan? That's the matchup. And then you could do, fucking O'Malley versus Sanhagen, or if you want to protect him, or you could do O'Malley versus Umar. You know what I mean? Like, there's options here. Or maybe Payne Talbot somehow finds his way into the fucking top 5 and fights one of these guys. I don't think he should get a title shot next. I think it's the dumbest thing ever. But I don't know if they want to feed him to Umar, who we'll talk about later, because that's also kind of dumb. The bantamweight is so loaded at the top with guys who technically, I guess, deserve title shots. The UFC is definitely going to want to put Sean O'Malley versus Petr Yan at the White House or something. It would be fucking amazing. But Merab, he deserves that rematch. Moving down, and I'm so happy I got this perfectly right. Waldo Cortes-Acosta finishes Derrick Lewis by round 2 TKO. Derrick Lewis, and I had said it all week, like, he's not that good. All his wins are against Brazilian fat taxi cab drivers. He farms knockouts off of these guys. He hasn't had a good win in 4 years, and that was Curtis Blades. The first round was so boring. These two dudes were standing there. They were like jumping head kicks from Derrick Lewis. Waldo was landing some nice jabs. Neither of these dudes knew how to cut each other off in the octagon. Waldo was kind of just barely missing his right. Caught a leg, knocked Derrick Lewis down. Derrick Lewis literally has zero cardio. Like, he literally looked like, you know when, like, you tell your dad that you think there's a monster in your closet and you want him to go check at it, so you go run over to his room and try and wake him up? That's how he moved off of the ground in the first round. He, like, was like, what? Let me go check. And, like, barely fucking slowly got up like a fat bear. That's what he looked like. But credit to Waldo. I thought it was 1-0 Waldo. I could see if you scored it for Derrick Lewis, but I thought Waldo, like, actually landed, like, realistic striking sequences, like a nice jab in there, and then kind of chopped him down when he threw that kick. So I thought that was cool. Round 2 came. Derrick Lewis was sweating so much. He was glistening so much. Like, remember in NBA 2K when those trailers would drop, like 2K14 the first time, and you're like, why are these dudes so sweaty? Maybe he was 15 or 16, I don't remember, but the guys were so glossy. That's what Derrick Lewis looked like with the fucking lights going under him. But I wanted Waldo to throw more leg kicks. He didn't really throw a ton of leg kicks or calf kicks in this fight. There was like a nice right and a knee from him. It started to get a little bit more scrappy in this round. And then Derrick Lewis literally gets dropped with like the most bullshit right hand ever. It looked like he slipped. Like, I thought Derrick Lewis slipped, and then he just rolled into a ball. Waldo Cortes-Acosta beat his ass. It was over. And everybody who was booing Waldo, you need to open your eyes and realize Derrick Lewis is not good. This guy has no fundamentals. He doesn't have elite level footwork. He's just a big black dude with power. That's all he has, and he's funny. And I like Derrick Lewis, but the fact that this guy's a top 10 heavyweight in the UFC right now is ridiculous. And he's 40 years old. Also, if this was like your first UFC card and you had to watch these two shitbags fight each other, I would like Waldo, but you know what I mean? Like, these two fat ass dudes. Imagine how disgusted you were after watching that first round where these two dudes are just wobbling around, punching, like barely throwing any punches from range. Like, it was pretty boring. Waldo Cortes-Acosta is literally 1 win away from fighting for a title. Shout out Waldo. I've been a fan of this guy for so long, mainly because he's Dominican. I'm not Dominican, but I do speak Spanish. Que lo que papi, dime. I know blaga Dominican. Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Big win for the Dominicans. All of them are going crazy right now back home in the Bronx. Moving down to one of the worst fights I've ever seen. Natalia Silva versus Rose Namajunas. Robbery decision for Natalia Silva. I thought Rose won this. Natalia Silva was doing this like stanky leg feint where she was just like moving her. It was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. It was 3 rounds of just useless feinting. Rose landed a takedown in the second round, and then I thought Silva, I'll give this to Natalia Silva. She did a good job turning it up in that third round. I got a takedown in that round and defended some takedowns, won a split decision. People were booing this fight because I guess people had Rose Namajunas on their parlays. If you bet on this fight, like in terms of picking a winner, you just didn't pick it to go to distance, you should be sent to fucking prison. Everybody knew this fight was going to suck. It did suck. Credit to Natalia Silva, though, she won, but this is absolutely terrible. And fights like these, I'm sure Dana White's sitting there, and it's just like, I got to shut down the fucking women's divisions because they're so bad. And I thought Rose Namajunas won this, but pathetic. I'm going to say this. The only women's MMA fighter I actually enjoy watching is Fatima Klein. Everybody else is incredibly boring. Fatima Klein, she could be a 3-division champ. Everybody else sucks. And Wei Li, that's it. Fatima Klein and Wei Li, that's it. Everybody else is terrible. Shevchenko sucks. Silva sucks. Namajunas is terrible. Mackenzie Dern, how is she a champion? Kayla Harrison's good, actually. I don't want to disrespect her, but she's not even fighting. Amanda Nunes is like your biggest draw, and she's 50 years old. And she's probably in menopause right now. Who gives a fuck? That fight sucked. Credit to Natalia Silva. Good robbery decision. And really before the Gaethje versus Pimblett fight, I thought this was fight of the night. Arnold Allen, I thought he looked fairly decent coming off of a long layoff. You know, like all things considered, it's been, what, a year and a half since we've seen this guy fight. I thought he looked pretty decent. I think John Silva, and credit to him, I thought he was really patient in that first round. Like, didn't really open up a ton, but he was standing his base really well. You could tell after that first round, as the first round went on, he was getting significantly more comfortable, closing distance nicely. Clipped Arnold out with a spinning elbow, landed a nice combo, like really hurt him in the first round. And it looked like Arnold Allen was going to get finished. Round ends. Then he tries to give John Silva a high five. John Silva wasn't having that, and Arnold Allen pushed him, which is kind of funny. He was just landing more cleanly, wobbling Arnold Allen, landing nice elbows. Arnold Allen was mixing in nice knees and kicks, and landing nice knees on the fence. Both of them landed spinning elbows on each other. I thought Arnold Allen dodged a lot of head kicks, though. John Silva dodged a ton of head kicks. Arnold Allen would flick him up there, and John Silva would fucking dodge. And then Silva, I thought, just styled in that third round. Did a really nice job. I think he got taken down and had a nice reversal. He also was, I forgot about this, John Silva was pointing to the ground with 45 seconds left, asking to stand and bang, and Arnold Allen was like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like, he was just, like, so confused. Why is this guy so fucking stupid? And then, what's it called? He took him, like, he had a head kick and then took him down or something. And then he stood on his back and jumped off of him. That was one of the dumbest, craziest things I've ever seen. 30-27 all three ways I thought was disrespectful. I thought it should have been 29-20. I thought Arnold Allen, like, maybe, I think he might have won the second, I forget, but he definitely won a round in there. Arnold Allen kind of just needed to do more. He probably broke his hand somewhere in that fight and just didn't do enough. Credit to Arnold Allen. He had a great chin. I honestly thought John Silva was going to finish him late in the fight with that check left hook, but the opportunity wasn't really there in terms of Arnold Allen really lunging forward to try and finish shots, like how we saw him get dropped against Mozart. But credit to Arnold Allen, great chin. I'm excited to kind of get in the lab and figure out what I want to match make for you next, because I love Arnold Allen. I wanted him to win this fight. I picked John Silva, and then John Silva's crying after the fight, talking about how Arnold Allen's this fucking idol of his. I'm like, I don't even really believe that. John Silva is so weird, but I'm excited to see who he fights next. He's probably getting somebody around that top in that top five. So really sick fight though. Credit to Arnold Allen, looked pretty good after a year and a half layoff. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Umar he picked him apart with kicks for this, mixing the takedowns. Figgy just didn't look like he had it at all. Like, his face right here in this picture he just looked sad the whole fight. And I actually think he did have some good moments, like keeping his balance when Umar had a body lock on him and was trying to take him down. Did a nice job there. Then he, like, low-key had a moment where he was landing, not really landing, but he was throwing punches and they were coming close to Umar's face. That was like a little moment where you thought Prime Figgy was back. But Umar just did a great job mixing and body kicks, picking him apart. I wish Figgy would just let it fly and say, fuck it, I don't care if I get finished, but that didn't happen. Umar was in on single legs when he wanted to, flat him out. Just a really great technical performance from Umar, even if it wasn't exciting whatsoever. I don't even want to say the most. The problem with how Umar and Sean O'Malley kind of performed in this card, though, is neither really set themselves apart in terms of, like, if you were to jump Merab, or if you're next in line after Merab, like, who is that? Because I really didn't feel very, like, Umar had a really technical breakdown at Figgy, but I thought Sean O'Malley also did a lot of really nice little things, like feinting and moving around the octagon really well. Like, I just don't know if either one of them set them apart for the next title shot, if they were to jump Merab. But good win for Umar. All the credit to him. Down the card, we go to Ateba Gaethje versus Andre Pulaev. This was one of the all-time stunners. I don't know how Pulaev didn't die in this fight. Ateba Gaethje dropped him with a straight right within the first round. Didn't jump on him at all. But and it looked like Pulaev was still going to get finished. Like, he was like knocking himself down with leg kicks, but he started to land like some nice shots. I think he cut Ateba Gaethje in that first round, was eating shots, like and also ate a nut shot. Here's what we learned about Ateba Gaethje. His footwork is lacking. He needs more variety in strikes, maybe throw some feints. I thought, like, he does have like a nice head kick that you saw him throw it a couple times in the clinch and like a couple other times. Like, I wanted to mix up and diversify his striking more. And he's got the reason why this fight was a decision Because Pulaev had significantly better footwork around him. It was essentially anytime Gaethje would rush in or close the distance, Pulaev could just cut back to the outside, and he was fucking fine. Like, he just could circle around the entire fight. Gaethje couldn't cut him off once. I think Pulaev got rocked again in that second round, and got dropped, but who cares? I give him credit to him. Does it actually say? He got knocked out in that second round, but credit to Pulaev. He survived. I think we learned a lot about Gaethje. He's still so young, so I don't want to be like, oh, he was exposed, but I think people who are saying this guy was going to be the next champion, I don't know if I'm there quite yet with him. His footwork's got to improve. He needs more variety of striking, more feints from him. We still haven't seen this guy's grappling get tested, which I'm excited for. Give him Kelvin Gastelum. That's who I wanted instead of Pulaev. He's just got to fight a name who has a sick chin. Gastelum could kind of do a little bit of everything, has like variety to striking, can do some grappling too. Just give him somebody. So weird. I give credit to Pulaev the fact that he had survived. Crowd was booing because probably all their parlays was sold because everybody had Pulaev by like first round knockout. I told a lot of people to take him in the second round because I was like, oh, Pulaev can kind of survive for a round, and he did, and he actually survived the whole thing. This fight going the distance had to have been like plus a billion, but whatever. Listen, I only got 2 fights wrong on this entire card. This fight will haunt me for forever. The fact that Nikita Krylov in 2026 won a fight is insane. I thought Modestas Bukauskas was going to bomb him, and it just seemed like both these two dudes, anytime they got in close, would just miss like they would never hit entirely cleanly on the other. The beginning, they were moving in range, doing nothing. Nikita Krylov was literally doing jumping like fucking body kicks. It was some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen, and he was eating shots earlier. I was like, his chin's gotta go, but he was initiating grappling exchanges, slowing down Modestas Bukauskas. Was trying for inside trips. I thought Bukauskas did a nice job like getting back up when it was landed on him in the first round. And Krylov had a couple other times where he had a body lock on the cage. Was just blob maxing. I was just waiting for Modestas Bukauskas to land one shot on him. Nikita Krylov really was moving around like he was drunk, and he was essentially emoting on him in the third round. Hurt Modestas Bukauskas, and then fucking finished him at the end of round 3. Just one of the dumbest fights I've ever seen. I don't really have much to say, but this Bukauskas, maybe throw more than a 1-2 and not just hope that you crack this guy's shit. I mean, this Bukauskas was literally like me, how I thought this fight was going to go. He's like, if I just touch this guy's shit, it'll crack. It just didn't happen. He couldn't land entirely cleanly. These guys would just blitz in on each other and essentially do nothing. It was hilarious to watch. It was really just pissed me off because I gave this out as a lock and it didn't fucking hit. But credit to Nikita Krylov. He's going to stay in the rankings, but this Bukauskas, you were always shit. Moving down the card to Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. The only other fight I got wrong on this card. Credit to Alex Perez. I did point this out. I said, this guy was up 2-0 on Asu Almabayev. Like, he's not entirely washed. He's really only lost to good guys. I said there's always a chance he could take a round or two and Charles Johnson just gets a late finish. Credit to him. He went out there moving really well, blitzed in, dropped him badly with a left hook. Charles Johnson survived. He was on jelly legs for the whole fight. Then he was like trying to shoot for takedowns, and I don't know, it just didn't work. Then Perez was piecing him up, hit him with a left hook. Charles Johnson didn't even know where he is. He was shooting for takedowns, grabbing Alex Perez's leg. Was like pissed at Mark Smith or Herb Dean or whoever was the ref. I think, and also Mark Smith rolled his ankle in one of these fights and didn't ref anymore. That happened. So Charles Johnson, he only beats elite prospects like Loner Kavanaugh and Joshua Van. Anytime you think this dude's going to turn a corner and actually be a contender, like a legit contender in flyweight, he fucking sells. Credit to Alex Perez. I'm happy for him. Good fighter. Another goofy stoppage. There were so many goofy stoppages up to this point. And man, big win for Alex Perez. Down the card to the first 2 fights. I'll go through these quick. Denzel Freeman didn't land a strike. He threw a total of 8 strikes. One of the worst performances we've ever seen. And I forgot. I must have picked Josh Hoka by decision. I thought I had this guy by finish. I don't know why I did that. I gave Denzel Freeman too much credit because he actually had, like, watching the tape, this guy had skills. He could defend takedowns. He could strike well. All of his wins professionally were by finish. Like, he subbed Steven Asplin. Like, he has good wins. And he was just fucking terrible. Like, Josh Hoka immediately was in on a single, was landing elbows, landing uppercuts when it got stood back up there. And there was a point where, like, he had Denzel Freeman down and was slapping his own leg like he was a fucking horse. Like, it was one of the weirdest things ever. Freeman was he was gassed. Guy had zero cardio. He was on jelly legs. And Josh Hogan literally won by TKO by holding the middle finger up. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Shame on me for giving Denzel Freeman any credit. I still picked Josh Hogan, but shame on me for giving Denzel Freeman credit and thinking this guy could even make it more than a round in the UFC. What a dumb fight. Denzel Freeman, when he got TKO'd, when he got finished at the end of that first round, his flat was jumping around everywhere. He was fucking hitting the cage. He just looked like such a fat slob. And then Josh Hogan was really breaking down a promo like he was Chael Sonnen / Macho Man. And then he called Waldo Cortes-Acosta a deadbeat. Josh Hogan, legitimately though, like, he has fucking real skills. He was Colby, like, he looked like Colby Covington in the grappling exchanges. He looked really solid. It was just a fun finish, fun fight. Ty Miller absolutely destroyed Adam. Forget about it. He didn't even do anything complex and like anything special. Bruce Buffer also announced Ty Miller as Adam Fugit, and Adam Fugit as Ty Miller, so that was funny. Ty Miller was just literally landing a ton of straight shots, landing his jab, landing his straight right, just was piecing him up. Adam Fugit was just teeping. Maybe he should have shot a takedown. And then he actually landed a nice spinning elbow that cut Ty Miller, but then Ty Miller just poured it on him, beat him, and it was another goofy stoppage. Good win for Ty Miller in his debut, though. I don't really know what to think of you because all you did was, 1-2s, but Adam Fugit, he's terrible. So, what a card, though. UFC 324 delivered. It's like a 7 or an 8 out of 10. A lot of fun finishes. Wish we didn't have, like, the problem with this card was there were so many ads and shit. Because we had 3 fights drop out. Alexander Hernandez versus Michael Johnson out. Smotherman versus Trujillo. then Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. I think it would have felt like a little bit less downtime even if we just had 2 of those. Like, if we just had the Smotherman and the Hernandez-Johnson fight, then we would have had I felt like it would have flowed better. The sequencing would have been better in terms of time between matches. But either way, sick fucking card. Justin Gaethje, what a win. We have an American champion, kind of. But, yeah, I'm excited. Gonna do a full kind of matchups for these guys tomorrow. I'll put that out on YouTube. Thank you all for watching. The doctor is signing off.